So you're thinking of designing your own racetrack in the Upland Metaverse, but will that make you the race owner? I'm YK2012, founder of the Upland Guide. In this video, I'm going to explain why you might want to create a racetrack and what it means to be the owner of a race. This video is sponsored by the Metaverse Auto Group car dealership showroom, located in Cornerstone Village in Detroit at 17521 Mack Avenue. More on them throughout the video. Having the ability to design your own racetrack in the metaverse that is mapped to the real world can be really exciting. Have you ever thought about racing around some of the most famous spots in a specific city, or something that's specifically unique to Upland? Racing is becoming an interactive, competitive way for players to connect within the metaverse and compete by seeing who has the best car for the best racetrack. As economic development starts to grow around cars, vehicles, racetracks, and many other aspects of the car economy, having a racetrack can bring a lot of people to the neighborhood that the racetrack is located in. Here on the Upland Guide maps, you can see some of the racetracks that exist within Upland and the exact routes they take within the city. There are many reasons that someone might consider creating a racetrack, but with the near infinite route options and ease of being able to create a racetrack, players are going to have lots of options of where they will be able to race their cars. So before you go ahead and start creating a racetrack, you're going to have to think, what kind of value is this racetrack going to give to people who are going to use it? In other words, why would someone come to my racetrack in order to use it when there might be another one maybe closer by to where his block explorer is? Take a look at the link in the upper right hand corner or the description below, as there is a full web page on the Upland Guide that dives deep into that exact question. Upland is a game based upon ownership. That means that the properties, block explorers, and all the other assets that you have in the game are things that you own. It hasn't been mentioned, but I think that it would make sense that each racetrack would also be some sort of a metaventure. As you can see here, the MAG Metaverse Auto Group showroom is indicated by this title, and also when you zoom out, the orange dot, which indicates that it's a metaventure. So I would think that all racetracks would also have some sort of similar indicator within the game. And that would lead me to believe that it will function similar to other metaventures in the sense that there is someone that owns that track, just like player D684D owns this metaventure, which is on the property that he owns. Now, just like in the real world, if you own a racetrack, you could rent that out to other people and they can have events and races on your track. So the racetrack owner can be different from the race owner. As of March 2023, there are no racetrack owners. Upland is still in development, so this might be a future feature. But for now, let's say that Upland is the owner of this Genesis Loop racetrack, just like all of the other ones. Now, let's say in the future, I want to have a competitive race with 5 of my friends. I'm going to go and create a race and potentially say everyone has to pay 10,000 UPX in order to enter this race for a total of 60,000 UPX. And the top 3 finishers of the race will take a part of that prize pool. I, as the initiator of this race, also play a very large part in the success in this racing event that I created. Now the question arises, who is the race owner? Is it the person who created the racetrack, or is it the person who started the race? It could potentially be the same player, but if it's not, who is in fact the race owner? And why is this important? The racetrack owner is important because without the racetrack, how would you create the race? And the person who started the race is important because without him, who would come to race on the racetrack? I could have brought my friends to a different racetrack in order to race there. So obviously there was something special about this specific Genesis Loop racetrack that I decided to bring my friends here in order to race. So it's clear that both the racetrack owner and the person who started the race are bringing some amount of value to this event. So one might think that since both of these players, the track owner and the person who started the race, are bringing value to the metaverse, they should somehow be compensated for that. In the future, in order to participate in a race, you're actually going to have to send your block explorer to the starting address where the race is going to start. So by doing that, the racetrack owner will be getting these visits and he will be able to make some revenue by people using that racetrack. Should there be an additional fee that all of the racers have to pay in order to use the racetrack? Additionally, how will the person who started the race be compensated? Should the player who started the race also take some sort of a rake or percentage of the prize pool for that race? Or should it be the player who started the race has to pay a fixed cost to the racetrack owner in order to be able to utilize that racetrack regardless of the prizes that will be issued for the winners? There are a lot of scenarios that could play out. What happens if you're having a racing league and it's not just a one-off race? What happens if the prizes are not UPIX and maybe it's properties, a block explorer, or maybe you're just racing for fun? A racetrack owner might be someone who invested a lot of UPIX in order to mint and buy a lot of properties along the racetrack. And the player who starts the race may be someone who is very good at coordinating and bringing people together within the community in order to use that racetrack. How will those players receive a return on their investment, whether it be an UPIX investment or their time investment into this racing aspect? In order to receive a return on those investments, they're going to have to show how they can provide value to other players. So regarding the question, who is the race owner? Is it the player who owns the racetrack or is it the player who starts the race? This is something that Upland has said that they are still grappling with and discussing internally as to how this can best be played out, as to what is best for the metaverse and its players. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below as to who you think should be the race owner, the racetrack owner or the person who started the race. And Upland, if you're watching, make sure to check out the comments below as well and see what people in the community have to say about this topic.